Welcome, everybody. Thursday, August 27th. John Aravosis here. Welcome all. Hello. I know you're finishing up the ad. Sorry. The YouTube ad. Let me get TikTok rolling here. This is good. Oh, I always forget this on TikTok. One more thing. One more thing on TikTok. Anyway, how are you guys doing over on YouTube? Let me just get beep, 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 beep. I think that heart is kind of cool, too. I still think rock car is a lot of fun. I do. Oh, there's new things. Oh, there are new things. Oh. TikTok finally has new gifts. It's about time. All right, let's see. Let's see. All right, go live. There we go. Woo! Welcome all. Let me get, all right, TikTok. Boom. Boom. Mirror. Boom. Boom. Come on. There we go. All right, I am set now. Woo woo. Anyway, welcome all. It is Tuesday. Thursday. It's not Thursday. It's Tuesday. It is Tuesday. The house is a little cold, but we have to keep it this way. Otherwise, the upstairs will be boiling tonight. It's 98. It was 97 degrees. Very, very hot. Very, very hot. Is it hot in Canada, Dave, or are you nice and north enough that you're not getting this stuff? Hey, guys. Hey, Ash. Hey, Alan. Thank you for the gift there. Who is that, Alan? Thank you. Oh, hey, Stacy. Glad you caught it as well. We are live. We are live. Hey, Jorge. I slept marginally better than last night since the power didn't go out, but I kept waiting for the power to go out. It's nasty out. Yeah. Thank you, Rose. Hey, buddy. Hey, Richard. There is a Ukraine update. We have many pages of Ukraine updates. We do. We do. Nothing big to report, but stuff to report. Hey, Larissa. But yes, Mom's house is a little nippy because I'm trying to keep the temperature cool-ish down here, so the upstairs isn't boiling hot. It's nasty. Nasty, nasty, nasty. I know I'm done with summer too, to be honest. I'm a little it's cold enough now. It's definitely cold enough. Oh, I'm yawning. I'm sorry, guys. I'm still very tired. I slept a little better. I slept slightly better here. So anyway, hello, YouTube. Hey, TikTok. All right, guys, we'll get rolling. Why not? So welcome, everybody. I am John Aravosis. This is the Aravosis Report. This is my nightly show I do Monday to Friday, 6 o'clock Eastern. Thank you. Who is that? Cool with the gifts. Thank you, Succeed. We talk about the latest news from Ukraine. We talk about the latest U.S. election news. Lately, I've been starting with the election news, and then we move over to Ukraine. It's about 50-50, I'd say, in terms of the amount of news we cover. Thank you, Bjorn. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Magical. Thanks, guys, for the gifts. Thank you, our mods, Manda and Ash. And I'm guessing some of the other mods are here. I can never remember. And lately, my mind's been a little fried. Oh, dealing with so much financial stuff. Oh my God, my brain's going to explode. Oh, I'm having to deal with a lot of lawyer financial stuff. And I am a lawyer, but nonetheless, turning on your lawyer brain is a lot more fatiguing than your regular brain. Thank you, Sean. It reminds me of being back in law school. I remember reading my law school stuff, and it would take me an hour or two to read one page because it was so complicated. And I feel that's what I'm going through now, going through all this estate stuff and everything else. It's legal. It's legal complication stuff. It's very, bleh. What do you do? It is what it is. Anyway, and my voice is still scratchy, but I blame that on Canada. I'm assuming this is Canada's fires doing this to me or something. Thank you, Sean. Oh boy, thank you, Sandria. All right, guys. I'm sorry. Today is gonna be a yawning day. I do have the dino shirt. I love my dino shirt. We'll see if Robert's here today. He likes our dinos. Thank you, Adventures. Thank you, Aviation. Lots of gifts coming in today. Thank you, guys. It's 13C in wherever the hell you are, Jens. You're somewhere north. You Norway? I'm already tired, Jens. I can't even remember if you're in Sweden. I think you're Sweden. 13 is cold. That's unfair. I am going to yawn. Am I 4 years old? Yes. I got my law degree and my master's in international relations and learned 5 languages fluently in the first 4 years. I'm that good. So thank you for asking. Thank you, Flower Lady. Thank you, Charles. I'm going to guess that's a troll. And I kind of like this because the trolls always give themselves away. That's the troll's way of saying what kind of intelligent person would be into dinosaurs. Oh, honey, you clearly don't hang out with too many intelligent people. It's something I sort of get a kick out of it. And I shouldn't, but I sort of get a kick. Thank you, Randall, of how basically it's like Donald Trump, how dumb people and basically don't understand how to act like smart people. Like only a dumb person would think dinosaurs. Who likes dinosaurs? Right? Only dumb people like dinosaurs. Are you kidding? Like go away. Yeah, sure. Anyway, everybody likes dinosaurs. Exactly. And I think if you're a very good person, you don't give up on dinosaurs from when you were a kid, right? I love dinosaurs. Excuse me, my nose is itching from all the Chicago weather or the bad air we've got here. But yeah, who the hell doesn't like dinosaurs? Oh my God, what are you? Like, I don't even know. Whatever. We won't talk about the dinosaurs. I just find that funny. Like dinosaurs. Trolls are very funny. The trolls are basically people who come here to basically just sow trouble and try to like throw us off our game and confuse us and make us mad. But I enjoy when they're kind of just bad at it, like dinosaurs. Yes, who would like dinosaurs? Well, a lot of anybody who's intellectually curious and likes the mystery of life and sort of fantasy and science and history and the notion of beings walking the earth 200 million years ago or 60 million, depending on which one you're talking about. 66, I should say. 60, they were kind of dead. That's who likes it. Thank you, LR. All right, guys. My favorite dinosaur is Tough. I used to kind of like Brontosaurus, and then they kind of treated him like Pluto. Pluto, I mean, the planet that isn't a planet, but maybe it is. Brontosaurus kind of went that direction, and I forget now. I'm always forgetting, is a Brontosaurus now? It's probably on my shirt. Is it an Allosaurus or an Apatosaurus? I always forget now what Brontosaurus is. Or do we still see? I should know this. If Robert were here, he would know this. Felonsaurus, exactly. I like Felonsauruses here. What happened to the dinosaurs? A little complicated. I believe, from what I remember now, you did have an asteroid fall. It was a big disaster. You also had some volcanoes going off, I believe, by India, among other places. And the combination of the volcanoes and the asteroid, that was the end of that. Killed a lot of life on the planet. Things in the water did pretty well. Birds did decently as well. Allosaurus is more a T-Rex. Okay. Any case, all right. Brachiosaurus, Apatosaurus. Yeah, I was going to say, like, Brontosaurus is, I don't know why I liked, maybe it was the Flintstones. Because Brontosauruses are kind of boring, but I liked the big lumbering, right? Pterodactyls are cool, but I believe pterodactyls are not officially dinosaurs. Again, we need Robert here, our literal dino. Is anybody else a literal dino expert? I mean, Robert literally is a dinosaur expert, which I kind of love. I don't know if anybody else is, but yes, I believe pterodactyls are not. The shirt, believe it or not, you can find on Amazon. Now it's not the highest quality, but I think it was $15, maybe 20 max. It's not the highest quality shirt, but it's a cool shirt. I shouldn't be advertising somebody else's shirt since I get no money from this, but I think it's fun. I love this. And also I like the print because it does look a little like young, but also all right, we'll stop showing off the shirt. All right. On with the show. All right, let's start rolling here, guys. Today is, Tuesday, August 27th. We're going to talk about the U.S. election, and then we're going to be talking about the war in Ukraine. Let's start with the U.S. election. Please do give me your gifts. As you guys know, I do this full time, and basically I pay the bills with the gifts you give me on the show, whether it's subscriptions, whether it's those fun little things. There's actually, TikTok does have some new gifts, by the way. Thank you, Marcus and Colin. They have some new gifts I was seeing, which is kind of neat. So go check it out on TikTok. But let's get rolling. Thank you, Colin. Thank you, Taylor. Thank you, Marco, or Marcos, depending. James. All right, let's get rolling, guys. So, hey, Laura would rather beg for money. I beg for money. Oh, yeah. I do this full time. See, the problem is people, and I love when sort of trolls say beg for money because it allows me to beg for money because you brought up the topic. People should actually, young people know this now, I think. A lot of people do different jobs. Some people do jobs like this where they produce the news on their own, right? And this is their job. And it's providing you free information. It's providing you free analysis based on my 40 years of experience in Washington, based on my multiple graduate degrees and law degree. As my mom, actually, thank you, Hedge. Thank you, Randy. It reminds me of a story my mom told me once of, thank you, Denise. Thank you, Randy. Told me on Bash as well. Told me of one of the paintings I think she's got. She went to sort of a famous watercolor guy, a big demonstration he had, a watercolor painter here in the U.S. Thank you, Frank Thomas. Mom was a good painter. Thank you, Eileen. And the guy gave a demonstration and painted the watercolor in like half an hour. And it sold for maybe $2,000-$3,000, something like that. Thank you, Eileen. And somebody in the audience said, what do you mean $3,000? $3,000 to paint something in half an hour? And the guy said, it took me half an hour to paint it, and it took me 30 years to learn how to paint it. But I always kind of love, oh, hey, Blue Ariel. Blue Ariel's getting dinos as well. Robert's going to be jealous. Thank you, Blue. But I always kind of like that with the trolls. Like, you should always respect. This is, by the way, too, this is why I have always respected experience. Like, whenever we get into those arguments about Biden being old and everything, I do think Biden's old, by the way. Thank you, Grumpy. Thank you, Annie. Thank you, Martin. My concern when people get old is if they're too old. Biden's getting too old. He is. I mean, I think we can finally admit that now that we got Kamala. Woo woo. Thank you, Luna. Thank you, Clink. But, I don't want somebody who's too old where they start to kind of just, their faculties go down. But otherwise, I like old. I like my doctor with experience, for example, my MD. I want somebody I like young people who are kind of up on the science, the research, but I like the old guys and gals who have seen 30 years of illnesses, so that they're hopefully kind of putting things together and saying, oh, I remember another case, right? So I've always been a big sort of respect for experience. I think it's important. And again, if someone's still got their game, having said that, younger people who can bring new ideas and stuff is great. Just don't assume the young people have the experience the older person has. It's different, Anyway, all right. Well, exactly. I've had some doctors that have been very young, and it's been a little weird. I remember it's just a little weird. Sometimes like they're 25 or 30 and you're like, I feel like I'm my mother going, huh, tell me, how long you been doing this? You know what I mean? Like, it's just a little, but having said that, they've studied a lot. So they may have some of the, thank you, Martin. Thank you, Vicky. They may have some of the sort of the new studies and research and that kind of stuff that an older doctor may not have, All right, enough of the doc. We go off on these, although I will say I enjoy when we go off on tangents. I like to think that's one of the things we do here. We sort of go off on fun tangents because, to me, I want to give you some expertise about the election, about Ukraine, but also I look at this as kind of a fun community, and I want us to. I like to chat. Obviously, I like to chat anyway. That's a given. But I like the community aspect of sort of getting off on topics and almost like it's a hangout. You know what I mean? Yeah, it is nice to talk about stuff. Exactly, cool. It's just sort of like a hangout kind of thing. You started doing counseling at 23. It was awkward. Oh my God, I can imagine. Thank you, Ginger. Right, like, what exactly have you experienced in life that lets you give advice to others? Yeah, no, very, very, very true. Anyway, but again, if somebody's intuitive, somebody could be a great counselor at a young age if they're just a very intuitive, empathetic person. Right? You don't necessarily need years of experience for that necessarily, but it is true. Never been married, never had kids. Who knows, right? Anyway, all right, let's get moving. So Donald Trump, the special counsel, thank you, Ketrin, has reintroduced some indictments against Donald Trump. Basically, and I mean, I'm a lawyer, but this is complicated stuff. Also, it's complicated because of all the different cases. Trump, right? He's a felon so many times over. But basically, the Supreme Court ruled a few months ago, the U.S.'s top court at the federal level, that Trump could not be charged with any crimes based on, and I'm going to sort of overgeneralize this, but based on conversations he had as part of his work. So in other words, you can't charge Trump with a crime if he secretly talked to the CIA about doing something, even if it was illegal potentially. He's allowed to talk to the CIA, or in this case, he's allowed to talk to the Justice Department. So they went and they repackaged. This is the election interference case. Again, we've got like multiple felonies Trump's been charged with on multiple issues, from stealing the classified information, trying to violently overthrow the government, the fake electors in Arizona and Georgia, and I think Michigan too, right? Everywhere. Thank you, John. Thank you, Ketrin. But let me just read you this from the various papers. Donald Trump will once again need to enter an official plea in court after special counsel prosecutors reworked the indictment against him in the federal election interference case. Although Trump was charged with the same offenses as the original case, prosecutors narrowed the allegations and altered the language to try to comply with the Supreme Court's ruling on presidential immunity. Thank you, John. Thank you, Maddie. So one of the things I was reading the articles the court did, they referred a lot to candidate Trump. They referred a lot to his campaign staff and things like that. In other words, to make clear that they were not talking about things he did as president or staff he talked to as president, that it was staff he had after the presidency, things he did after the presidency. That's important because, again, the Supreme Court decision said you can't go after him for a lot of things he did while he was president necessarily, right? So that they did. ABC News, America's ABC News explained it this way. While the original indictment laid out 5 ways Trump allegedly obstructed the function of the federal government, having state election officials change electoral votes, arranging fraudulent slates of electors, using the Department of Justice to conduct sham investigations, enlisting the vice president to obstruct the certification of the election, and exploiting the chaos on January 6th riot, the new indictment removes mention of his use of the Department of Justice, which was explicitly mentioned in the Supreme Court's ruling. So in other words, they pulled out sort of him talking to the Department of Justice because the Supreme Court said he's allowed to talk to his own agencies, even if he's talking to them about violently overthrowing the government. Gotta love our country, but what do you do? Kamala Harris. So Vice President Kamala Harris and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz are going to be sitting down for an interview with CNN on Thursday night. The Trumpies have been very upset. The media has been upset too that Harris hasn't done many press interviews. Honestly, she's been doing very well. Thank you, Jen. Appreciate that. She's been doing very well. She hasn't needed to. Thank you, Carol, for the gift. But nonetheless, she will be doing a sit-down interview with Dana Bash on CNN Thursday night. Dana Bash is very good. Thank you, Super Hornet. Trump plans to, oh God, this was crazy news today from Trump. Trump named his honorary transition team leaders, his members. The transition team is basically, as you approach the election, okay, our election happens early November. The swearing in of the president, the inauguration, is January 20th. There's like 2.5 months between the election and when the president becomes president. It's not like Europe where literally, at least like in Britain, it was the next morning, which is crazy to me. Like the next morning they had a new prime minister, right? Thank you, Jay Shea. So with this, what happened is Trump, like Harris as well, they're going to name their transition team. The transition team are the people who start figuring out now, if you win, who are you going to have in your administration? Because in America, yes, you've got a lot of civil servants. Trump actually has an evil plan to replace those civil servants with his own political people. It's very dangerous and very scary. It's called Project 2025. You might have heard about it. But you've got a lot of people, I forget how many tens of thousands of people who are political appointees. They're appointed by the new president. And it takes a long time to fill 25, 35, 45,000 jobs, whatever it is. So typically the campaigns start planning now, and they announce a transition team to start preparing to fill those jobs. Well, Trump announced the head of his transition team. The honorary co-chairs are Tulsi Gabbard, who is a former Democratic congresswoman, but who has always been a bit of a far-right nut job, also very anti-gay as well. She's a bit of a nut. And the biggest nut of them all, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. J.D. Vance says that he wants Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who's the guy who was running for president and just dropped out, number 3, but he was at 4% in the polls. He was at 4% of the polls and claimed this weekend that he was winning. He said, I was winning in the polls, but the Democrats cheated me out of something, so he's dropping out. But he's not winning in the polls. He's at 4%. He was at 8%. Now he's at 4%. He announced Gabbard, who's like crazy, and Kennedy, who's really crazy, to be like honorarily in charge of helping figure out who to staff his administration. J.D. Vance also said that he hopes Kennedy will play an important role in the administration. Kennedy's nuts. Kennedy, every day there's a new Kennedy story. The latest Kennedy story is his daughter says they were driving along the beach or whatever, and he saw a dead whale. And as people will do, you see the dead whale and think, wouldn't it be cool to cut the head off that whale and strap it to the top of your car with a bungee cord? So that's what he did. He cut off the dead whale's head and strapped it to the head of his car and drove for 5 hours with the dead whale on top of his car. This is the same man who claims he saw a baby bear killed in upstate New York, little small cute bear, claims he saw it killed by a car, stopped and thought, hey, that looks really good to eat. I think I'm going to take that. Mind you, because like who does this, right? You see a baby bear get killed, you think, oh my God, that poor baby got killed. Kennedy goes, burgers. He grabs the bear, throws it in his car, plans to take it home. He says he's going to skin it and put it in his freezer. He goes out to a restaurant. The dead bear is still in his car. He then realizes he's got to go to the airport. The dead bear is still in his car. And he says, I've got a dead bear in my car. I can't go to the airport and leave the car at the airport for a week. It's going to smell like dead bear in New York City, mind you. So he says, I'm going to go to Central Park, the biggest park in New York City, and I'm going to dump the dead baby bear. Now, the story's pretty weird as things go already. Thank you, Isa, for the gift. But nonetheless, I can accept if you've got a dead baby bear in your car and you're going to the airport, maybe you don't want that dead baby bear staying in your car for 2 weeks and smelling, right? And maybe you think dumping it in a park is a good idea. Fair enough. Well, he goes to the park, and Mr. I didn't kill the bear decides he's going to stage the dead body so it looks like someone else killed the bear. Now, I don't know about you. The only time I would stage a dead body to try to make it look like somebody else killed the dead body would be if I was the one who killed the dead body, right? If somebody else killed something, I would just leave it. I don't need to make it look like someone else killed it because someone else did kill it. Kennedy puts the dead baby bear in the park, claims he has a bicycle in his car, because who doesn't have an extra bicycle, puts the bicycle on top of the bear and makes it look like the bicycle killed the baby bear. It was a huge story in New York about 10 years ago. It was funny. I even had a New Yorker write me and go, no, that's a different story. That was a huge story. And I said, no, it literally is the same story. That's Robert Kennedy. He claims he didn't kill the bear. You're going, sure you didn't kill the bear. Claims he got a brain worm about 12 years ago. There was a worm in his brain that was like eating away at his brain. There were claims that he ate a dog. He had a picture showing a dog, and now he says, I never ate a dog. Sure, the guy who picks up dead baby bears to eat them, the guy who cuts the head off whales and straps them to his car wouldn't eat a dog? Okay, sure. I'll take you at your word. He's also the guy who's, mind you, this is the guy Trump picked to be one of the top people helping fill his new administration if he wins. Okay. Thank you, Ava. Thank you, Pam Pam. Also, J.D. Vance said today he hopes Robert F. Kennedy Jr. will have a senior role in the Trump administration, possibly help, for example, to pick the head of the Food and Drug Administration, to pick the head of the what am I forgetting? The NIH, the National Institutes of Health, the head of the FDA, right? I said Food and Drug. I mean, in other words, pick the top scientists. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is somebody who doesn't believe in science. He doesn't believe in vaccines. He thinks vaccines are fake. He said this. He thinks not a single vaccine has ever been proven effective. He said this last summer. Google it. He thinks not a single vaccine has ever been proven safe. He said this last summer. The organization he set up in order to undercut viruses of vaccinations for children. He literally set up an organization to undercut vaccinations for children. Thank you, Denise. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Pesky. The organization came out a few months ago and said the polio vaccine doesn't work because polio isn't real. Polio isn't caused by the polio virus, according to our Robert F. Kennedy's organization. Polio is caused by toxins in your blood. So therefore, the polio vaccine is meant to fight the polio virus. But because the polio virus doesn't cause polio, it doesn't work. Well, I think the millions of children who have been saved from losing their limbs, from the ability to walk and breathe since 1950, or 52 or so, are going to be very surprised to learn that the polio vaccine doesn't work. This guy's crazy. He's absolutely crazy. Thank you, Jay Shape, who, as I say, Pesky, Mary. And this is the guy Trump's looking to help staff not just to be a senior health advisor in his administration, but to actually help pick who the men and women are who take the top health jobs in the Trump administration. He's out of his mind. I mean, this stuff just blows my mind. How nuts. And yesterday. Okay. Anybody who thinks I'm exaggerating, I've got the best one for you. Yesterday, RFK Jr. goes on Twitter and he retweets somebody and agrees with the guy. Somebody who is the biggest Twitter troll out there. The guy who, it was the BBC actually, the British broadcasting company, their fact checker was the one who found this. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. retweets as fact a guy who is the number one person on Twitter for being fact checked. Twitter has these community notes that people can use to correct people who lie, basically. He's had the largest number of community notes, meaning he's been caught sort of the largest numbers of times writing bullshit. Robert F. Kennedy yesterday tweeted in support of the guy expressing concern about chemtrails. Okay. I don't even understand this conspiracy because it's such a crazy conspiracy. You know, when you look in the sky and the airplane goes by and you can see the little condensation after the plane, and it leaves the cool little trail in the clouds that the wind blows, and they're kind of fun to watch, right? Thank you, Joshua. That's a whole conspiracy theory people have. Thank you, Ellie, where they think they're chemical trails. And I don't even understand this. I mean, I try. Hold on, I'm going to actually pull this up. What the hell? Let's pull this up. Chemtrails. Because I want to read this to you because it's so freaking crazy. Okay. Robert F. Kennedy endorsed this yesterday. Okay. Just, again, now you guys, thank you, Joshua, for subscribing. Now you guys understand why for months I've been telling you Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is a nut job. Because remember, people keep saying, why don't you? Well, why? But I kind of like him. Why wouldn't you vote for him? And I keep saying, because he's crazy. This is the theory he endorsed. The chemtrail conspiracy theory is the erroneous belief that long-lasting condensation trails left in the sky by high-flying aircraft, right? It almost looks like smoke coming out of the jet behind it. It's actually condensation of water in the clouds. It actually makes little clouds. Is the theory that the condensation trails left in the sky by high-flying aircraft are actually chemtrails consisting of chemical or biological agents sprayed for nefarious purposes undisclosed to the general public. Believers in this conspiracy theory say that while normal contrails dissipate relatively quickly, contrails that linger must contain additional substances. Those who subscribe to the theory speculate that the purpose of the chemical release, they think people are secretly releasing chemicals in the air from commercial airliners. They've filled the jet with poison and it's coming out of the jet, right? They believe the purpose of the chemical release may be solar radiation management, weather modification, psychological manipulation. They're putting the chemicals to like mess with your head. Human population control. They're doing it to sterilize all of us. This was literally Stargate SG-1's 2010 episode. Biological or chemical warfare. The list goes on. I rest my case. This is RFK Jr., okay? What is important here isn't that RFK Jr. is woo-woo, but that Donald Trump just picked him to be one of the top people to help advise who Trump would appoint in his administration. And RFK Jr. would get, most likely, a senior health job in the Trump administration. And the guy is not only a few fries short of a Happy Meal, I think he's like an entire box of fries short of a Happy Meal. Thank you, Marsha. Really, 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 really freaking crazy. I mean, it's just, anyway, blows my mind. Little more here. What else we got? Beep, 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 beep. Oh, yes, we talked about the cutoff, the whalehead. The debate. So Trump is still playing games of the debate. Trump is supposed to debate Kamala Harris on September 10th on America's ABC News Network. Thank you, Lizzie. He's scared of debating her. She's been doing well. He's scared of her. He first pulled out of the debate. Then he went back into the debate. Then he went and accepted the debate again. Then he started pulling out again this week. He got scared again. Now he's saying he's back in the debate, but he still hasn't really decided on the terms of the debate. Initially, they had decided to keep the microphones off. Like that was the initial deal, meaning that when you finish talking, your mic turns off. Thank you, Lizzie. And if the other person's talking, you can't jump in and go, that's a lie, right? Thank you, Marsha. Well, Joe Biden's people didn't want Trump jumping in and doing what Trump does. That's a lie, right? Cutting you off. Kamala Harris's people want it. I don't know why they want it. I think because they want her to be able to jump in when he's speaking. Trump this gets fascinating though. Thank you, Al. Trump has said, I'm fine, up until recently, I'm fine with the microphone being on. Let it be on. Let us talk back and forth. Thank you, Marie. His people go, no, that was the deal. The deal was the microphone is cut off. It's not going on. And Trump keeps going, it's fine. So Harris's people keep putting out statements going, wow, Donald Trump's people are like, his handlers won't let him do what he wants to do. It's really, again, I can't quite figure out what's going on here because typically, like I said, Biden did not want Trump to be able to just spout off nonstop because he hogs the microphone. Harris's people seem to think it's going to make him look bad. That basically, I think they think that when the microphone cuts off, Trump stops talking and you don't hear all the, it's a lie, that's crazy, you're nasty, you're mean. You don't hear all the crazy stuff coming out of Trump. I mean, you hear crazy stuff, but you don't hear all the mean, vindictive stuff. And I think, like you said too, so she can say, I'm speaking, it gives her a chance to, I also think, interject and go, yeah, Donald, that's not even true. That was disproven a year ago. Let me explain, right? Like all of a sudden, she's a prosecutor, guys. She's a lawyer. Lawyers, I will tell you as myself, lawyers are very good at sort of interrupting and saying, well, actually, let me tell you what actually happened. And I think they're terrified of this. Thank you, Nicola. It's very interesting. Finally, more than 200 people who previously worked for Republican President George Bush and Republican Senators Mitt Romney and John McCain have signed a letter endorsing Kamala Harris. So very interesting. All right, let's move on to Ukraine. Thank you, Courtney. We're going to talk about the war in Ukraine, the latest there. I got a couple pages of notes here. Thank you, M. Fuller, for that. Please do keep the gifts coming, guys. I do this for a living. I do it full time. Your gifts quite literally pay the bills. Gifts on here are great. Also subscriptions. We love subscriptions. Please do keep the subscriptions going. Okay, I appreciate it. All right, day 915 of Vladimir Putin's special 3-day military operation. Thank you, PC Noel, for the gift. Ukraine has taken control of 100 Russian settlements since its invasion of Kursk. Let me show you really quick what we're talking about. So I do need to get more pins. My flag and my T-shirt here. Thank you, PC. Thank you, Colin. So Russia has invaded and taken this part of, they're occupying this part of Ukraine. Ukraine, about 3 weeks ago, invaded up here and is occupying part of Russia, an area maybe about this big. The Russians are a little freaked out. It's making Putin look bad. Doesn't look good when you're a dictator. And the little guy next door who you keep saying doesn't matter, they're small, they're insignificant, has just stolen a chunk of your country and now has put up Ukrainian flags. The Russians are not thrilled. The Ukrainians have so far taken 100 Russian settlements, 100 Russian towns. Reportedly, they control 1,294 square kilometers, 500 square miles of Russian territory, and 594 Russian servicemen have been taken prisoner. Thank you, Craig, for the confetti. Politico reports that Ukrainian officials are preparing to present. Oh, this is interesting. So Ukrainian officials have constantly been trying to push the Biden administration to let them do more, right? And Biden, I've said this from the beginning, Biden has been great in helping Ukraine. Biden has also been chicken of Vladimir Putin. And the reason we are in the debacle we're in Ukraine right now, where Ukraine and Russia are kind of stuck in a bit of a quagmire, is because Biden, the French, and the Germans were scared of Putin, and they didn't want to anger him. So they gave Zelensky enough weapons to basically like defend Ukraine to a degree, but not win the war. And that's why Ukraine's not winning the war. That way Ukraine is not able to push Russia out of the territory it's in. Frankly, it's the fault of Biden, the French, and the Germans. They again, I like to compare it to, thank you, veteran. I like to compare it to, cancer surgery or something, right? Where the doctor goes in, thank you, Charles. Well, like imagine cancer surgery. You've got cancer and the doctor says, I'd like to help you. Let me take out half your cancer. And you go, well, okay, that's going to give me more months, but I'm still going to die. You haven't taken out all the cancer. That's what we did with Ukraine. We gave them enough weapons to basically take out some of the cancer, but not all the cancer. And now we're sitting there going, gosh, it's been 2.5 years. Why hasn't Ukraine won the war? Well, they haven't won the war because literally we only gave them enough weapons to take out half the cancer. We knew this because we didn't want to piss off Russia. We believed all the BS from Russia about, and by the way, the Russians are threatening nuclear war again. They're doing it again. I didn't even write the story down because, as you know, only when I want to laugh at the Russians do I sort of tell you when they make threats, because the Russians make threats about nuclear war 3 times a week. They've been doing this for anybody who lived like I did during the Soviet years. The Russians and the Soviets love to talk about they're like literally, it's, what is it called? Small syndrome, right? They're basically, when you're incredibly insecure, you talk about, look how big my nuclear weapon is, right? Or in Trump's case, look at my hands. He always, look how big my hands are, right? Look how big my nuclear weapons are. And we're like, yes, Vlad, you have very nice nuclear weapons. And we have them too, and so do the French and the Brits. So nobody cares. Thank you, Marsha. But yes, so the Ukrainian officials are preparing to present a list to the Biden administration telling them all the things they could do if the Americans let them use American weapons long range inside Russia. Currently, actually the Brits are being bad about this too with their missiles. Most of us are only letting the Ukrainians use our weapons to fight sort of a short distance into Russia, just across the border, but not deeper. The problem is Russia is, thank you, Norway Fox, Russia is killing a lot of Ukrainian civilians by using bombers flying from bases deeper inside Russia. Well, the Ukrainians could hit those bombers using our weapons. They can't because we won't let them. So Russia's able to put the bombers farther away, bomb Ukraine, kill a bunch of civilians, and fly back to a base that's protected because we won't let Ukraine use the weapons. So the Ukrainians are preparing a list of targets that they say they could hit with our weapons and would have great impact. Now, why are they doing this? Because, and again, it pisses me off. Part of what Biden does with this, it pisses me off. He lies a little bit. I mean, he admits half the time that he's afraid of Putin, but he doesn't want to always admit he's afraid of Putin because it looks bad. So he makes up stuff about how, well, that wouldn't be useful anyway. We kept hearing this almost every weapon system we wanted to give to Ukraine, but it wouldn't help anyway. So the Biden people keep saying, oh, it wouldn't help if you let the Ukrainians fire deeper into Russia. That was part of their argument for not letting the Ukrainians do it. So the Ukrainians are preparing a big list of all the things deeper inside Russia they want to hit and what impact it would have on the war. So it's actually it's calling Biden's bluff, but I also think Biden's gonna be impossible. Kamala's foreign policy is difficult. Cam says, can you speak on Kamala Harris's foreign policy? The problem is she's the sitting vice president. She's got to be very careful. Meaning, I don't know that you can get anything different on foreign policy from her right now than you get from Biden. She could talk, for example, about maybe some new initiatives, but the problem is you're working for your boss. Okay, some of you young people may not understand this because, as you know, I'm a little suspect about some of the work ethic among some, not all of you. Some young people don't quite have the work ethic that older people do, I have to tell you. But my generation, your boss is God. And you do what your boss says. And you certainly don't publicly go and criticize your boss. Some people do that today. Kamala Harris still works for Joe Biden. She can't publicly go public and say, you know what? He's doing a crappy job in the Middle East. We need to do this instead because, Biden is still president and she works for him. So she can't really say the war in Ukraine, we're not being tough enough, because then she's criticizing Biden, who is her boss right now. It's just too uncomfortable to do. She can come up with new initiatives. She could say, in my administration, hypothetically, in my administration, I want a renewed focus on Latin America because that's always been an interest of mine. And I think America could have a much stronger relationship. And if they say you're criticizing Biden, you could say not at all. You only can do what you can do. You can't do everything. We're talking about additional things. That's one of my areas of interest. That's how I would, if I were running and I wanted to focus on Latin America, that's what I'd say. You can't say, I'm going to focus on Latin America because it's been ignored the last 4 years, right? So that's the problem you get when it comes to Kamala Harris and the Middle East. She can't criticize, even if her policy is different. I don't think it's going to be that different, but even if it's different than Biden's with regards to what's going on in the Middle East, she can't quite say it because she can't criticize it. So Ukraine's the same thing. I think she might be tougher than Biden on Ukraine. She can't say it because she can't criticize it. So I think that's what, anyway, I think therefore, and actually domestic policy too, you could talk about new education initiatives you want to do, right? But you can't sort of say he's done a bad job on education because he's the boss right now. It's just, anyway, it's just a political reality is what I mean, right? All right. A little more here. Beep. Ukraine's Air Force has used F-16 fighter jets as part of its defense against Russia's mass missile and drone attack overnight. Russia has redeployed 30,000 troops to Kursk to deal with the Ukrainian I call it insurrection. I think it's kind of fun. The Ukrainian invasion of Russia's territory. A little bit more here. The Polish Brigadier General says that Russia, thank you, Marcia, thank you, Colin, keep the gifts coming, guys, that the Polish Brigadier General says that Russia was likely testing Poland's air defenses by sending a drone or multiple drones into Polish airspace the other day. Basically, sure, Kim, no problem. I mean, it was a good question anyway, and I thought it was sort of interesting because it let me explain more to people about sort of the political process. So it was a good question. Polish air defenses, yeah. So the Russians, they think that the Russians were basically sending a drone into Polish airspace in order to kind of test it. And you test it, the same reason the Russians sort of fly near our borders with their planes and stuff. They're not preparing for a war, so to speak, but they're preparing if there ever were a war, right? How long does it take the Poles to respond, right? Thank you. Oh, was that Flareka? Thank you, Flareka and Marcia. Like, how long does it take the Poles to respond? How far can I get into Polish territory before they do something, before they send up fighter jets, right? It lets you know their response time so that if you ever wanted to invade Poland, for example, you know how much time you've got before the Polish Air Force responds, right? It helps you prepare a war. It doesn't mean you're going to war, but it's ongoing preparations just in case. So it's not nice stuff, basically. What do you do? All right, a little more here. North Korea has reportedly sent containers to Russia that could contain as many as 6 million artillery shells. That's a hell of a lot. Thank you, Ernie. Thank you, Musan. Keep in mind that the initiative the Czech government is doing to hopefully get artillery shells for the Ukrainians, that initiative is trying to find 1.5 million artillery shells over about a year and a half period, right? It looks like the North Koreans may have sent the Russians 6 million shells versus the 1.5 million that NATO's still looking for. So it's a hell of a lot. The North Korean shells don't work as well, but when you send 6 million, enough of them work to make a difference. Thank you, Kathy, for the gift. Hey, Dutch Cossack. Russian. This is a great story. This is okay. Two final stories here. Zelensky says Ukraine has the capacity to produce between 1.5 and 2 million drones a year, but doesn't have the money for it, which is interesting, needs funding. The final story, I thought this was very interesting. This came via the British Ministry of Defense. And Russian troops are running out of drinking water. I mean, again, you're talking about a third world country and a third world army here. Listen to this. This is via Sky News, but writing up a report from the British Ministry of Defense today on Twitter. Some Russian pilots are being forced to turn to dirty puddles for drinking water, the British Ministry of Defense has claimed. It says some military units are experiencing water shortages, citing pro-Russian sources. So what's interesting is this is actually citing Russian sources who are pro the Russian government who are complaining, okay? Citing pro-Russian sources, thank you, Lizzie. The Ministry of Defense says pilots are being restricted to 1 liter of water per day, which it says is around a quarter of the daily recommended requirement. So they're only getting 1 liter a day, a quarter of the water they should drink every day. As a result, some troops have resorted to drinking water from dirty puddles on the ground, which it says impacts morale and effectiveness. Yeah, I would think having to drink dirty water out of the ground because your government hates you so much and is so ineffective might hurt morale and cohesion. Yes. Really, anyway, that was sort of the last. That one, I have to do a video for that on TikTok because that one just blew my mind. Again, Russia's a country that doesn't have running toilets. 25% of the country doesn't even have toilets, guys. It ain't the West. It ain't the developed world. It's not a place. I mean, I love when Putin, by the way, I thought about this the other day, but Putin recently lessened the restrictions for people to immigrate and said, if you have a moral objection to your country, you can move to Russia. And it was like, yeah, so you can drink literally water out of the ground, out of mud, like puddles, shit in an outdoor toilet in an outhouse because you don't have plumbing and lose all your teeth. It's like, woo, Russia, woo, great, love you. Yeah, and get typhoid. But I'm sure R.F. Kennedy Jr. would tell you typhoid isn't real, so you're fine. Right? Typhoid is just toxins. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Well, also, if you're drinking dirty water, can't you at least give them those things that clean the water? Right? I was reading about the stuff they make for people in Africa, where they have those little pipes that they can put into water and drink, and at least it's clean. Again, I think because Russia's a poor country. It's not a developed country. I mean, Russia, I want to say is 23%, maybe. I think it's 23%. I got news for you, Kick Rock. If 23% of the country doesn't have toilets, your country's a bit of a mess. I mean, he said it's not the entire country. Yeah. I guess 75% of your country has toilets. Congratulations. You keep trying. That's great. Good for you. Was Jimmy Carter instrumental? That's interesting. Thank you, Charles, for subscribing. Jimmy Carter was instrumental in that program. I saw something recent. I don't know if it's a whole newer one, but I saw something recently. Maybe it was on Shark Tank, but it literally was like a straw almost that you put in water and you drink, and it can last like a crazy period of time. It was really cool. Like I almost wanted one, even though I have no reason to ever use one. But it looked really, really pretty cool. Yeah, Russia's a mess. It's a backwards country. I mean, they were saying when the Ukrainians kind of invaded too, they kind of freaked out because it's so LifeStraw. Maybe it's so. It's just a very backwards country. I mean, it's unfortunate. I think it's again, the Russians have to decide whether they want to join the real world or not. But we're in enough trouble, I think, in the West where we're not paying enough attention to what Asia's doing and sort of keeping up with the Asians. I mean, forget I love the Russians think they're in a competition with us. You've got nukes. That's it, right? You've got nuclear weapons. Otherwise, you're literally the junior varsity. You're not even the junior varsity. You're the kickball team playing with the professional football players. I mean, they're just, whereas we should be worrying about Asia, obviously, in terms of the competition there. They're hard to dry. Interesting. Anyway, the C team, exactly. So what's going on, guys? Let's do our hangout and talk part now. We talk about, actually much more backwards in southern states because we've got toilets. Again, I checked the number. Check it again. I want to say the U.S. number surprised me because it was actually like 99%. What percent of U.S. has indoor plumbing? I thought it was going to be low. 99.36% of U.S. homes have indoor plumbing. 99.36, guys. Okay? I mean, listen to this. What percent of Russia has indoor plumbing? According to a 2019 article from the Moscow Times, mind you, the Moscow Times, this is Russian, more than 1/5 of Russian households, or 22.6%, do not have access to indoor plumbing. Yee. Wow. Ooh, listen to this. Okay, even better. In rural Russia, nearly 2/3 of households do not have access to indoor plumbing. Interesting. Now I want to try rural America just for fun, see if I can find that. Okay, I'm risky because I don't know the answer. In rural America, how many people lack indoor plumbing? Let's see here. There are 2.2 million people in the U.S. without running water inside their homes, but we know that there's 330 million people. So again, it's less than 1%. Yeah, about 500,000 U.S. households. Anyway, it ain't 2/3 of the people. No, it's Russia is not our competitor. It's not our competitor. They think they are, but they're not. No, the thing is, it makes me sad because I went to Russia. I went to the Soviet Union. I met very nice people. Their government, horrific. The people I met were very nice. And you know what? They settle for crap. In this case, literally, I guess, but they settle for crap. And it's like, you know what? I do. I'm very conservative in this way to a degree, where I believe to a degree you get the government you deserve. And let's face it, Donald Trump isn't doing well because all Americans oppose him and he's instilling himself on us. Half the country actually likes the fascists. So, he wins the election. America deserves what they get because, I mean, if he cheats, that's a different story. But a lot of people seem to like the guy, and that's, great. Well, then they deserve everything he does to ruin the country, and the same thing with the Russians. At this point, how many bad governments can you guys have before you say, you know what, maybe wasn't FDR a fascist? No. Maybe it's time that we stood up and kind of got rid of all the bad governments. And not to mention, if Russia would just join Europe, wouldn't it be amazing? They could grow economically. They could actually have a democracy. I mean, get back to writing great literature and the great arts and sciences and everything else. And they just want to piss it all away. I mean, thank you, Iggy. Thank you, Jeremy. I kind of wonder, somebody like Putin, you wonder, he's been around the world. Doesn't he? I mean, doesn't he see what he's got there versus what's abroad? Thank you, Lord Flash. It just kind of amazes me. It's like, I guess it's a cult. Of course, he lives like a king. He literally stole billions of dollars. So thank you, Mighty. Oh, thank you. Who gave me thank Iggy, I call it the boneless goose, the relaxed goose. Thank you, Musan. Oh, and who was that up there? James. Thank you, James. I did see that scroll by. I was in the middle of talking. Thanks for the gift on TikTok, on YouTube, I should say. Oh, he's got a number of palaces. He stole billion. I want to say he stole something like $100 billion. I mean, the amount of money Putin stole was, how much, although nobody knows for sure, of course, how much money has Putin stolen? I mean, it's a horrific amount. Bill Browder, who is a very smart man, went to business school with my cousin Mark, actually. Now a Brit, wasn't American, now a Brit. One of the top sort of Putin critics, but also Putin experts. Bill Browder told CNN that Putin, he was also a one-time Putin backer, which is interesting. One-time backer of Putin. was once CEO of a company that was Russia's largest investor. William Browder told CNN that Putin was one of the world's richest men thanks to hundreds of billions of dollars of stolen wealth. Some people, including myself, believe that he's the richest man in the world or one of the richest men in the world with hundreds of billions of dollars of wealth that was stolen from Russia. Putin officially earns $145,000 a year, but has about 200 billion with a B stashed away in Swiss bank accounts, shares in hedge funds, according to Browder, who in the late 1990s was a shareholder at Gazprom and a number of other state entities. Yeah, I mean, it's sick. And he's Idi Amin. He's like any of these African despots who just rape their countries, take all the money, and then sit there and tell them you're so oppressed because the Brits are mean to you. No, I hate that in Africa too. It just makes me sick. You know, oh, Google it. You'll find it, Jay. You'll find it anywhere. Bill Browder is super famous. Just Google how much money has Putin stolen, and probably the first article that comes up, but you'll see it. And I think he said it on CNN to Fareed Zakaria anyway. So how does he survive? Who knows? Sasha, the dog is either barking because she's got to pee. You know how that goes. Or because she's trying to get me to feed her and she's being a little bit of a biatch. She's been doing this to me lately. Thank you, user336. Thank you, Jonathan. Sasha, come here. If she's got to go out, I will take her to pee 1 second, but I'm not convinced that's the case. Hey, come here. I may have to look just to make sure, but typically she's gotten really bad where people who watch my show regularly know we have to take our occasional dog break. Let me look. Sasha, hey. What are you doing? All right. 1 moment. It looks like the dog does have to pee. 1 second. All right. Come on. Come on. All right. All right. I was right. Somebody had to go. Sasha, exactly. Sasha's siesta. I need music I can play. I think TikTok might not get upset. YouTube might get upset if I played music. Like I said, I need like the little Jeopardy, like dee 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 dee. Yes, my dog. Sometimes the dog just decides she's got to go out, and she's old and she's got to go out, and she does like a little hello you hi. She does a little scream like that, and there's nothing I can do about it. Here, you guys, I can do a quick look. Hey, she can't quite hear as well anymore, so I don't think she's looking up at us. No, that would be Sasha. You guys, a little harder to move the camera up there. Hello. All right. She is a cute dog. She's a trip. Very very strong-willed little dog here. There we go. Yes, I saw, Steve, that Zelensky announced a new Ukrainian missile today. It's still being tested, I believe. I wasn't quite sure. I couldn't find much about it. 14 and a half she is. I couldn't find much about it or the implications of it, so I didn't mention it just because I thought, it's nice they mentioned a new ballistic missile or something, but wasn't sort of sure on the details. So I could mention it, but, I guess I don't necessarily like news where literally we have no idea what it means. Like, I would like to hear from some of the defense folks who know more about it, if they know more about it, who could tell us like, oh yeah, this is like a whole other generation of scary stuff that the Russians better watch out. I just don't know, So yeah, she's losing, and she's got, like, I would say half her hearing is gone already. So that becomes an issue in and of itself. So Russia did invade Crimea and took it 10 years ago. That is correct, Eileen. Russia invaded Crimea. Sorry, I'm itching. I'm itching because I'm terrified. Oh my God. That I was telling you yesterday, I'm still not going to show you. In Chicago area right now, we've got these horrible mites, M-I-T-E, these little infinitesimal insects that apparently go after cicadas. Cicadas are like locusts, but a little different. and they fall on you. You don't see them. They bite you, and you get these welts. I'm not going to show you the damn thing. Remember yesterday I told you it was this big, the size of a quarter? The damn thing on my arm is now this big. I would say it's the size of a basketball, maybe? Not a basketball, I'm sorry, a baseball. It's pretty damn, it's a good 3.5 inches across. It's horrific. I mean, I don't think I'm dying yet, but these damn, I'm not showing you. And people keep wanting to see it. The gross people among you want to see it. Nobody else wants to see it. I'm not going to urgent care. No, we know exactly what it is. It's a golf ball. I wish it was the size of a golf ball. No, it's like this big, but it might be it's this big, but it might be getting smaller. They're horrible. Yeah, but the nurses may not mind, but for everybody else, I think it's gross. A big red welt on my arm. I haven't been taking any histamines regularly. I should. I took one at night. I should take one during the day as well. But oh no, Google them. They're horrible. Yeah, see, Ash will tell you. She's in the Chicago area as well. Yeah, I would even say today, right now, it almost looks slightly better than it did earlier today. It was disgusting. I mean, it still looks horrible, but they're nasty. They're mites, M-I-T-E, but there's some kind of mite that eats cicadas or something. Somehow they're related to cicadas, and they're vile, and they fall on you. You don't know it, but you walk under trees, or worse, the dog gets it, and then you sleep with the dog, and it climbs on you. And my sister literally showed me today. She looks like, I said she looks like she has leprosy. Now she's gonna be pissed if she's watching, but I mean, like, oh my God, they're horrific. Oak mites, maybe. I mean, nasty though, absolutely nasty. So, oh, I think I Googled them, and Washington, D.C. had a problem before. Yeah, it's an allergic reaction. I do need to take more Benadryl. I mean, I've not been taking it religiously. I took it like at night, but I didn't take it during the day as well. And like, I put some steroid on it last night. I didn't put the steroid on it this morning. So I should be putting a steroid twice a day, and maybe taking the Benadryl 3 times a day just to kind of calm it down. Anyway, nasty. I don't know if they attack the dog. The dog has hair, but I think at the very least they get on the dog. You come in, and then it's like, come to me. And then they're like food, So I'm not going to stop showing. A lot of people don't want to see this crap. Just because some of you like to see gross things on people's arms, I'm going to wager a lot of people do not want to see something gross on my arm. So you're not going to see it. No. Benadryl knocks you out. Benadryl can knock you out, which I don't mind at night, but otherwise, yes. Yeah, I don't know. I have no fever or anything. It's warm, but of course it's warm. It's a welt, They're down I'm sure they're in Central Illinois as well. Yeah. It doesn't really itch, thank God. It itches at the beginning. I find it itches at the beginning. Oh, excuse me. It itches at the beginning, and then you're wrong. Yeah, it's because you're one of the gross people who likes to see red stuff. I'm like this too. I'm like, thank you, Cameron. I'm just totally like, every time I talk about it, I'm like, yeah. Very, very, very gross. Very gross. All right. Baking soda paste draws the poison. Is that really true, though? I've always wondered about that stuff. You're an allergist. This is your world. It's horrible, though. But again, I never really had a sense that steroid or the allergy pills were making any difference. But maybe if I was more consistent with them, It's amazing, though, that something microscopic can do that. That blows my mind, Oh, your name is literally Dr. Allergy. Okay, I guess I'll believe you. But that it can do that kind of, let's do a poll. No, you people are gross. Baking soda, I'll consider the baking soda. Although I may trust Dr. Allergy, though some guy calling himself Dr. Allergy, I must admit that's the height of internet say, well, it has allergy in his name. It must be real. but I will believe you. You people are gross. People are absolutely gross. Raw potato. Oh, that's interesting. Oh boy, sorry, I'm yawning again. Yeah, I'm not showing it, guys. Let it go. Bee stings. Oh, that's interesting. Well, maybe I'll try a little of the paste. I just like, they feed off cicada eggs. Oh, that's what it is. Yeah, it's just really disgusting. No, I appreciate it, but they're just, I just can't believe it can cause a a reaction within such a large area. You know, it reminds me of, remember I told you, I got the monkeypox vaccine and I had a damn thing like this on my arm to the point where, Dupixent, I've heard that name before. I forgot what that is. The monkeypox vaccine, I had a rash like this on my arm to the point where I did a video on it, and people who were nurses were like, get it checked now. Went to urgent care. Urgent care said, it does look like an infection. We're going to give you antibiotics. If it doesn't start to go diminish by tomorrow, take the antibiotics. The next day it had diminished a little, so I let it go. But then I was Googling, so many people had horrific reaction to the monkeypox vaccine. Now good luck getting it now. It's spreading again, but apparently it's very difficult to get. The Brits were saying you can't even get it there. Some British people were saying. So I don't even know. I got it the first time. I don't know, like the DC Public Health gave it for free. It was like, yes. This time I don't, but I mean, I'm talking a welt like this on your arm. You're going, you really think you've got blood poison or something. I mean, it was crazy. Whether you need it is questionable. I don't know. I would say Google it and see. I don't know whether it's clear that you need it, but again, good luck getting it anyway. Of course, I think they are on Sasha and coming in. I've got to remember that I've been taking like little, wet pads. Is the chair creaking? Sorry. No, I will try not to move as much. I use the little wet pads and wipe her down to at least hopefully get them off, or maybe the alcohol kills them. I don't know. I mean, I'm hoping alcohol, because it's not on her skin, isn't as bad of a thing, but it's gross. Anyway, it's going to squeak a little because there's no way to stop the chair from squeaking entirely, of course. Yes, I will get my COVID booster whenever and wherever that is. I don't know. I mean, good question, because like my sister's yard is bad, our side yard is bad, but then I walk in the park is bad. Oh, I'm not going to go to an allergist for this, though. Yeah, I mean, the problem is I'm in Chicago right now. I live in D.C. My allergist is in D.C. What's he going to do? I mean, and again, my sister's loaded with them. I mean, this is something people complain about, and people go to the. I mean, I saw earlier stories from years ago about people complaining to. What do? You go to the doctor, and he says, "Yeah, you're having an allergic reaction, but if it's not killing you, I don't know." Get your flu shot. I'll go to get my flu shot then. Well, I can see if I never quite know if the grocery store get it. All right, be kind, be nice. Be kind is not liking my chair. I don't know that I've got any better chairs to sit in. We can see maybe. It may not be as comfortable though as this one. The flu vaccine or the COVID vaccine is weird because sometimes I found that the local pharmacy, their free shots don't work with Blue Cross Blue Shield, and I don't know why. Whereas for RSV recently, my pharmacist mentioned it to me and recommended it. And I said, would they even cover it? He goes, yeah, it's free. So I was like, who knows? But I try to get like my flu shot and stuff, and I can never get it at my local pharmacy. Blue Cross, first of all, makes me fill out a whole form, and then they deny it. And it's like, come on, guys. It's a freaking flu shot. Why does it matter where I get it? You know what I mean? Monkeypox, I don't remember the side effects. I just don't remember. I just remember horrific. I mean, I'm talking the welt could have been this. I did videos on it. The welt could have been this big. I thought I had an infection in my arm. It was horrific. But then I read a lot of people get them. And I was kind of actually, when I went for the second shot, I mentioned it to the woman. She goes, oh, yeah, a lot of people say that's happening. And I said, perhaps you might want to tell people that, because I went to urgent care because a nurse saw my arm and thought I had an infection, like of the skin. Like, they should tell people the welt could be huge. Don't worry, Did it? I don't remember. Did it hurt? Yeah, I don't remember now. I just remember it was nasty looking, Oh, shingles. You could Google that. I don't want to give you medical advice, but after researching it, I got the shingles vaccine after getting shingles. I read up on it and decided it was worth it and talked to my doctor about it. So based on my doctor's feedback, I chose to, but you would have to talk to your doctor about that. But after getting shingles, I don't want to get it again. And, what I was told was it can help. Again, it depends on vaccines have risks, right? I mean, there's the reason we talk about it is vaccines have risks, right? Everything has a risk. So you don't want to just take vaccines for the sake of taking vaccines, send some mites to Russia. I'm with you. Let's send some mites. But yeah, I got the shingles vaccine. I think was it the shingle? I always forget we talked about this. Was it the shingles vaccine that the second shot was really bad? I think so. Am I right about this? That the second shot just knocked me on my butt for like 3 days. It was like having a really bad flu. But I don't remember. Oh, I think it was. Yep, the shingles. I think so. Yep. And it was like the first shot wasn't bad. The second shot, oh, nasty. But that can happen. I actually got the yellow fever vaccine once. Made me sick as a dog for 12 hours. I got it in the afternoon. That evening, I was at a play, and all of a sudden, I got woozy and was like, "Oh my god!" Like having a horrific flu. Woke up the next morning, I was fine. I mean, it was crazy. I had some immune response to it, And the nurse told me it's impossible. Like, oh, okay, sure. I clearly had some immune response. I mean, what do you mean? Better than right? Better than getting yellow fever, Oh, goodbye, ugly troll. Too bad incel. Little incel can't get girls. Oh. I don't know if we have West Nile in Chicago, do we? I don't remember. Do we have West Nile here? I don't know. If you'd like me to talk about Trump being a serial sexual assaulter, I could. Remember when the trolls come? I always like to turn it to topics they can't stand. Are Trump saying that our troops are suckers and losers for volunteering in the military and dying and getting caught? And that he didn't want injured POWs on stage with him at the parade because he thought it was embarrassing? And said, quote, "No one wants to see that," referring to heroes or war heroes who are missing limbs. No one wants to see that, Trump said. So he banned them from a military parade he was planning. So please do keep trolling, because I am happy to keep bringing up the worst of Donald Trump every single time you people troll. So thank you, running. West Nile is bad. Well, Fauci's got West Nile, but he got it in New York or what? When I moved back to Chicago, I mean, I don't want to. It's cold here. It's just very cold. I don't like DC, but it's warmer. I like being warmer. I'm not sure I want cold again. I don't know. I like it here, but it's cold. I like longer summers, So I don't, in the winter, forget it. I can't stand the winter. Yeah, Fauci probably was in DC. Yeah. Nashville. I'd have to visit Nashville first. My gut instinct is no, but who knows, I mean, the problem too is I think it's hard to move. Like, where do you retire? Do you retire somewhere like somewhere where you have no friends, right? Thank you, Bjorn. Oh, Bjorn gifted 5 memberships. Woo woo. Mamacita, Daniela Robino, Daniel O'Neill. We love Daniel. Drogna and One to Watch. You all got gift memberships from Bjorn. That means for the next month you get some fun, cool emojis. But you also can join our Saturday morning show at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Normally 11 a.m. Eastern time US, now 11:30 a.m. while I'm in Chicago, because it's a little earlier here with the time change. Thank you, Kano, for the gifts. Thank you, Cami, as well. NJ Patman, all of you, thank you. That was nice of you, Bjorn. Thank you. Even though you keep returning your packages to me. Bjorn is difficult. We love Bjorn, but he's difficult. What else we got, guys? Updates on auction items. No, I meant to bring some auction items with me. I didn't. I was only going to be here 3 weeks. Now I'm here probably 5 or 6 weeks. So I'm just not sure. I don't know. I mean, Dutch Cossack has got some new auction items that I would consider having him send. I'm just not sure I want to then send them from here to I don't know. I have to see. I may. Thank you, Fred. I may at least do. I should have brought some of the auction items. Thank you, running. Thank you, Fred. He's got a lot of cool new ones. The problem is it's like 3 boxes, which I'm not sure I want 3, decent sized boxes sent here to Chicago, So, I'm not sure about that. So, yeah, what do you do? So we'll see. I'm considering. That's okay, Stacy. I appreciate you asking. But yeah, so I'm not sure, Ukraine's new long-range drone. I heard about that. Yeah, Polyanitsia. I guess I don't know enough about it. Damien is keeping an eye on the fridge. He knows to hit it hard and to keep checking the thermometer that I put inside. Thank you, Bjorn, for the dyno. But I don't know enough about the. We talked about it yesterday. The new Ukrainian drone. I guess it goes longer and maybe it carries a bigger payload or something. But I don't know. I have to ask Vlad about it. Vlad is our expert on that. I should ask him about that. Actually, I'll send him a note now so I don't forget. He probably is asleep. But let me say, I'm going to write him a note. People are asking if you have any public information, because God knows Vlad has private information about the new Ukrainian Polyanitsia. That's good enough. Drone. There we go. Okay. Let's see. He may be awake right now, but it's late there. So it's probably midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm guessing. So we'll see tomorrow when he gets back to me, because Vlad knows a lot of stuff, but he knows a lot of private stuff. So we can't repeat the private stuff. But yeah, I mean, I saw they announced it. I just didn't see like $40 each. Oh, that's huge. Really? $40 each would be huge. It's $213 even. Okay. Because I'm in Chicago. It's 8 hours. Right. It's 8 hours. Thank you, Narco. Appreciate that. Right. They're 8 hours ahead. I keep forgetting that because I'm an hour behind in Chicago. I'm not in Washington anymore. Yeah. Who's providing the electronic? Oops, sorry, dog. God only knows. Right. And if they would tell us, right? I always suspect the Brits are helping a lot. The DNC roll call? What do you mean? What about it? Picking Kamala Harris? Who cares? I mean, I'm fine with it, but who cares? Obviously, she's the one who won. Those are the rules. So, if that's what you mean. I don't worry too much about people who tried to violently overthrow the government getting upset that somebody else got picked as the Democratic nominee through the official process, mind you, right? How each state addressed themselves. I didn't watch that. That stuff drives me crazy. I mean, it's funny, but it also drives me crazy. I didn't watch it. Yeah. The great state of so-and-so. And they go on for 5 minutes. I mean, it's kind of cute, but we have 50 states. It's like, oh, it was done well? I didn't see. Okay. I didn't see that. That's too bad. All right. Well, now maybe I'll Google it then if it was interesting. Little John? Who's Little John? Oh, thank you, Dragonfly. I know, I love this shirt. Like I said, it's an Amazon shirt. Not the most high quality. It's probably from Vietnam or something. Not the most high quality shirt, but it fits well, and I think it's fun. Oh, he's a rapper. Okay, I do not know these things. Yes, I never liked rap. Thank you, Zipzop, for the heart. I'm not a rap guy at all. So they played a song for each state. Oh, that's funny. Thank you, Barnburner. That's funny. Answer more questions. I mean, I've been answering questions, Magical. What do you think we've been doing for the last 40 minutes or half an hour? I mean, I'll answer a few more if that's what you mean. You love the DNC and you're Dutch. Oh, that's funny. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed the show. TikTok comparing the two roll calls. That's interesting. Beep, 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 beep. What else? See, we're not getting like a ton of questions anyway. That's why this is the part I usually wrap things up anyway, because it slows down. American Samoa had a song like The Edge of the World. That's interesting. American Samoa would be interesting to go to, wouldn't it? Just think it would be. Oh, that'd be. No, that's true. You're right. We're not doing a UN story. You're right. It would be interesting to do I wouldn't mind seeing a TikTok of somebody comparing all the what the state said. Discord, let's do it another night. I would have done Discord tonight because actually tonight I felt like it was going slow earlier. Once we're at the 1 hour and 15 mark, I'd rather not do Discord because, like I said, my voice has been rough lately. So I'd like to do Discord like when the show's done, like maybe as we approach the hour mark, if things are slow, remind me and we can go to Discord instead. Yeah, she talks to reporters. They get, they're trying to find different reasons to attack Kamala Harris, whatever. Who do I genuinely think is going to win? I genuinely think it's a tie. Trump absolutely can win. Absolutely. Trump was going to beat Biden. God knows how, because he's awful. But I honestly think it's a tie right now, which is disgusting, because how this country could even consider voting for Trump, knowing what a pig he is, I don't have any. Who knows? But yeah, I think it's a tie. She's doing amazingly well, but it's a tie. But it wasn't a tie before, which is great, for her and for us. But I don't know, Mike. I mean, whether Biden's going to get any ballsier about letting Ukraine attack Russia, I don't know. I mean, again, slowly, he allows more and more and more. Like, they used the HIMARS in the battle in Kursk. They reportedly used the American HIMARS, which is great. But, like, slowly, just slow enough so that Ukraine doesn't win. I think that's the plan. I think Biden's plan is literally for Ukraine not to win. If Ukraine wins, Putin freaks out. If Putin freaks out, oh my God, Putin's freaking out. Will he use nukes, right? He doesn't want Ukraine. He never wanted Ukraine to win. He wanted Ukraine not to lose. And some people never understood that nuance. There's a difference between wanting someone to win and wanting them not to lose. If you want them not to lose, you want a tie. You want a stalemate, right? You did not. Did I hold it up? User 609. This is the good arm. You didn't see it on this arm. The other arm. Did I hold my other arm up? Maybe I did. It's a little, like I said, I think it's actually slightly better than it was. I think we will see. I'm not thrilled about it. Well, also because it's even, I would say it even in its own creepy, we're talking about my bug bite again. In its own creepy way, it might even be this big, to be honest. All right, fine. You want to see? You're going to see. This is it. It goes from here to here, but it actually looks like it's expanding to here too. It's not so bad. It's not the reddest thing ever, but it's still pretty disgusting. So, I don't see how Ukraine wins. Thank you, Shine. I don't see how Ukraine wins. I think it's a tie. It's pretty swollen, but it's not like it to me isn't like it's, I'm not dying. Although it is getting redder in the middle, of course, God knows, because God forbid that gets better. It's gross. What do you do? Oh, I'm going to keep an eye on it, but I'm not the first person to get this crazy thing, and you're not showing it again. So look at Sobo. I missed it. Show it again. I'll sell pictures to it. Okay. You get to see it if you bribe me. I can't do that, by the way. TikTok will get mad. We're not doing that. We're not selling anything. You had sepsis and almost died? Wow. I mean, let's see how it looks tomorrow. If it's angrier tomorrow, I'll start worrying about it. It's not happy right now, but I think it may have relented. Now it's looking a little redder, actually, but I think because I was outside earlier. It's not Black Widow. They're mites. They're cicada mites. Yeah. Draw a circle around it so when I go to the store, everybody sees it. It's better. At least I'm in Chicago. So you go to the store and you figure people look and go cicada mite. But I might as well draw a circle and put big arrows and go, freak. Look at the freak with the thing on his arm. Yeah, I'm not going to. Healthcare is so bad in America, there is no chance I'm going to some walk-in clinic. I mean, I'm not urgent care. If it's urgent care, forget it. In my life, I will never go to urgent care again unless I literally can't breathe. It is always a 4-hour wait. I will not do it again. I will never do it again unless I'm dying. I mean, I hate to risk being sick, but it's such bullshit. It's just such bullshit. And you call the regular doctor, and there's appointments, next Thursday or whatever. Not my doctor in DC is a little better, but the doctor out here, it's terrible. Yeah, Richard. Yeah. Yeah, I hate urgent care. Just hate urgent care. It's terrible. And it's 4 hours. And again, she would look at, I know what she'd say. She'd look at it and she'd go, if it keeps getting bigger, maybe take some antibiotics. I'm like, okay, thanks. No wait in Michigan. Wow, that's a shocker. That's not Illinois. Wow. Oh, here, forget it. Here, you might as well have your head, headless, nearly headless Nick, and maybe they'll see you right away. You know, I haven't even seen the picture of them, Marie. I've only seen the what it looks like. You know, ER and urgent care. I mean, urgent care are like little facilities, like ER is in a hospital. Urgent care are little facilities that are away from hospitals that can't do as much. And I guess the idea is they take people, maybe it makes it a little quicker so you can walk in, but it's not walk in. You walk in and you wait 4 hours every time. Yeah. I've never been able to walk in right away. Literally, every time I've gone to urgent care has been 4 hours to 8. I walk out the door at 4 hours. At 3 hours and 15 minutes, maybe, no, 2 hours and 45 minutes, they take me in the room. I sit for another 25 minutes. Somebody walks in, I sit for another 25 minutes, and I get out of there at 4 hours on the dot. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. You know, no, I'm not worried about it, guys. It's like I said, it doesn't look good, but it looks like exactly what I expected, that like everybody else's does. So I'll wait till tomorrow. But again, it just pisses me off because it's always the same thing. You go in and she's going to say, yeah, you know. Anyway, oh la la. I was just telling a friend of mine that we must have a neighbor cat who my nephew told me today dropped 3 dead birds at our garage door. Which, knowing cats, I guess, means the neighbor's cat really likes us if it brought 3 of them, which is pretty wild. Yeah, 3. Yes, it is. It's a. All right, I'm going to show you what. It's kind of an oblong circle-ish thing. It kind of goes like this. Although this has me suspicious here, but it kind of goes like this. Dog, I hear you. Is it closed? It's not. Oh my God! How did you never learn how to open a door in 14 years? God. The door, I kid you not. The door was shut. The door was this far open. My dog has never learned to open doors with her head. So she sat there and whined at the door because it was this far open. And I'm like, no one ever taught you to go, like all the other dogs learned to use your nose to open a door. My dog is one of the smartest dogs on the planet. How has she never learned how to open a door with her nose? You know, it's like a circle with an end and no beginning. Exactly. The world is a circle. If you have urgent pain, it depends who's ahead of you, Danan. It totally depends who's ahead of you. And of course, I opened the door. She went inside and now she's sleeping in the bed underneath me. Literally, that all happened in 30 seconds. She's a Yorkie Bichon, very cute, very adorable, very smart. but yeah, they triage you, and unless you're dying, you're not going first. You're just not going first, unfortunately. It's always been 4 hours. It's always 4 hours. I got bitten by a mite that apparently eats cicadas out here in Chicago, or eats cicada eggs or something. And they're nasty, and your arm swells up and your whole body swells up. It's really horrible. You know what I would compare it to? People who get that suction, that hot suction therapy, when they put like the hot glass or whatever, and it cools and it sucks the skin and they're red. That's what it looks like. Cupping. I would say it very much looks like cupping. Yeah, except without the cupping, and instead it's miting. I'm not on antibiotics now. I don't think I need antibiotics. I don't think so. Anyway, all right, guys, I'm going to get going. We're at 125. You cut your hand with a supposedly sharp knife. You can find this. I mean, I don't want to like promote people on Google, on YouTube, but you can find, there's actually many people must have stolen this shirt from somebody, because there's many varieties of it on YouTube, on Amazon. I just thought this one in particular, I liked the design of the lettering, and I like the design of the dinosaurs. It's not the cheapest, but it fits well. Excuse me. It fits well, and it's kind of cheap quality, but it fits well. And I've washed it a number of times, and so far it's hanging in there. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll get another one. Thank you, Darian, for the gift. Thank you, Marge. So yeah, it's crazy, but they're fun. I know, it's nice colors too. It's a fun shirt. All right, guys, I'm going to get going. Have a good night. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for the gifts. I'm going to go eat the second half of a hamburger I didn't finish at lunch, and eat some Greek cookies that I made with my nephew last week. And I will see you guys tomorrow night. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you for joining us. We will have another show tomorrow, Wednesday at 6 o'clock Eastern time, U.S., like we always do. We talk about the war in Ukraine. We talk about U.S. politics, and we also talk about horrific bug bites and anything else. As I'm saying this, I'm itching myself again. That's another one that got me, was right here, like right there. But I will look for you guys tomorrow night, and join us. All right. Thank you all. Obama's 63, but he looks a little older now because they all look old once they've been president, you know. All right, have a good night, everybody. Thank you. All right, see you guys.